Hello everyone, my name is Aaron Woodman and I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to talk about disinformation from Donald J. Trump in terms of narratives she shared that impacted America's public sphere and his rise to power. This is important because as someone who was president before and is currently the president again, we need to see how disinformation statements he made influence his rise from being a former star of The Apprentice into politics. It is also important because as a high-profile political figure, his statements affect people's perceptions about someone else and life, and we need to be aware of his disinformation tactics as he gives information about different things. Let's begin with two major lies Trump has created and perpetuated. The first is known as Birtherism. Trump used his celebrity status to spread the theory that Barack Obama was born in Kenya and not Hawaii, and thus, under the US Constitution, was not entitled to serve as the US president. Here are some statements he said. Quote, his grandmother is in Kenya, said he was born in Kenya, and she was there and witnessed the birth, unquote. Quote, he does not have a birth certificate, or he has not shown it. He has something called a certificate of live birth, and that is easy to get, unquote. Quote, Obama spent $2 million in legal fees trying to solve this. Why doesn't he solve it? I wish he would. You're not allowed to be president if you are not born in this country. I have people that have been studying it, and they cannot believe what they are finding, unquote. Here is something to pay attention here. Trump's statements contain a fire hose of lies. The birth certificate Obama showed was official. The Kenyan grandmother did not say he was born in Kenya. A recording was edited to make it sound as if she said that. If Trump did send investigators to Hawaii, they never revealed incriminating evidence. Also, Obama did not spend $2 million in legal fees. However, a lot of people believe Trump. In a 2016 January Morning Consult poll of registered voters, 34% did not believe Obama was born in the US, 48% believe Obama was born in the US, and 18% had no opinion or did not know. Essentially, when Trump raised his doubts so many times, some people wondered if Obama was actually born in the United States. The truth is, this conspiracy theory was used to imply Obama did not belong in the United States. The second lie is that Trump was a successful and self-made businessman. Trump inherited $413 million, which he lost through bad management and investments. Trump said, quote, I am a self-made billionaire. I started with a $1 million loan from my father, which I repaid with interest. America needs a proven leader and a successful businessman. By the 1980s, he was almost broke. He was such a bad credit risk that no bank would lend him money. That was when Seaman Mokovich entered the story. Seaman Mokovich got his start as a young man in the 1980s in the Soviet Union by scamming his fellow countrymen who wanted to emigrate. He sold his possessions and pocketed the money. He ran his scam on countless of his fellow countrymen and countrywomen, women, and became wealthy. He needed to launder his money. When Trump sold luxury apartments, he did not inquire into the origins of the money or ask how someone acquired millions in the Soviet Union when most Soviet citizens were dirt poor. By 2008, Seaman Mokovich was wanted by the FBI on various charges in the United States, including racketeering, securities fraud, and mail fraud. Mokovich was not the only one. When the Soviet Union broke up and a few people seized the nation's wealth, they also needed a place to launder money. Trump earned a fortune selling real estate to Russia's oligarchs. He ignored the laws that required him to document the sources of income used to purchase real estate. Over the years, no fewer than 1,300 Trump brand condos were sold in all cash purchases to anonymous shell companies. In 1990, Trump ordered TAJ Mahal Casino in Atlantic City. Despite money pouring in from Russia, Trump's companies filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection 6 times. This included 2 Trump Atlantic City casinos. When Trump was running for president, he was asked about his business dealings with Russia. Trump said he had no business and deals with Russia. However, according to findings in the Mueller report and sworn statements given under oath by Trump's lawyer during the 2016 campaign, Trump was negotiating with Russia to build Trump Tower Moscow, a deal that would have put millions of dollars into his pocket. With these two instances in mind, you now know the foundation of Trump's early lies. Let's proceed into Trump using fascist tactics to gain and maintain power. Remember, fascism is the view that power is the way to operate. It is the view that virtue is a weakness. Fascism offers a set of tactics to seize and maintain power. For example 1, in fascism, winning is good. Winning creates value. Losing and losers have no value. Here are some quotes from Trump. Quote, Senator McCain lost. I did not like him as much after that because I do not like losers. I like people who win, unquote. Quote, McCain is a war hero because he was captured. I like people who were not captured, okay? Unquote. For example, 2, the slogan, Make America Great Again, embodies the fascist tactic of harkening back to a mythic past, generally when the members of the chosen nation ruled peacefully over others. Here is the mindset back then. Quote, a man was free. There was land for taking. Those were the days, unquote. Quote, you knew who you were back then. Girls did not try to be men. Men did not want to be girls. Those were the days, unquote. For example 3, fascists operate under the leader principle, or the belief in the iron infallibility of the leader. This essentially means a person will take on a leadership role because they want to do everything on their own or know more than everyone else. Here are some quotes from Trump. Quote, I am your voice. I alone can fix it, unquote. Quote, I have a natural instinct for science, unquote. Quote, I know more about ISIS than the generals do. Believe me, unquote. Keep in mind that Donald Trump was the first major American presidential candidate to reject the rule of law as a source of authority and claim that his knowledge and authority sprang not from the law, but from his instincts. For example 4, fascist leaders focus on dismantling the rule of law to replace it with the dictates of individual rulers or party bosses. Here is a quote from Trump. Quote, our laws are so corrupt and so stupid. With terrorists, you have to be willing to take out their families, unquote. For example 5, fascist movements have been draining the swamps for generations. Here is a quote from Trump. Quote, we are going to Washington, D.C., and we are going to drain the swamp, unquote. The phrase, drain the swamp, was coined by Mussolini, just so you know. For example 6, fascists established an us versus them dichotomy in which they reinforce pre-existing hierarchical stereotypes. Here's a quote from Trump. Quote, the U.S. has become a dumping ground for everybody else's problems. When Mexico sends its people, they are not sending their best. They are sending people that have lots of problems, and they are bringing those problems to us. They are bringing drugs. They are bringing crime. They are rapists. For example 7, at the core of fascism is loyalty. Here are some quotes from Trump. Quote, my people are so smart, and you know what they say about my people, unquote. Quote, the polls, they say I have the most loyal people. Have you ever seen that? Unquote. Quote, I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I would not lose any voters. It is like incredible, unquote. Once in office, Trump placed his son-in-law and daughter into their important advisory positions, often relying exclusively on their advice. Shortly after taking office on January 20th, 2017, Trump wanted the FBI to drop its investigation into his campaign advisors' communications with Russian operators. He summoned FBI Director James Comey for a private meeting at the White House. Comey would not commit to full loyalty to Trump and instead said to count on his honesty. After a few months, Trump fired Comey. These are the most notable examples of Trump using fascist tactics and conveying disinformation. Let's talk about him using the fire hose of falsehood method. The Washington Post documented 16,241 false or misleading statements during Trump's first 3 years as president. Here are some quotes from him. Quote, "There is no system to vet refugees from the Middle East," unquote. Quote, the Mexican government forces many bad people into our country," unquote. Quote, "The baby is born. The mother meets with the doctor. They take care of the baby. They wrap the baby beautifully. And then the doctor and mother determine whether or not they will execute the baby," unquote. There are so many more quotes I could list here. But the point is to convey all of these exaggerated statements to say there is a wide-scale problem with something, but it is not actually the case. With this fire hose of falsehood method, someone has to say so many statements at once to the point where it is difficult for you to process and think about if they are true or false. When it comes to conspiracy theories, Trump embraced conspiracy theorists such as Rush Limbaugh and Alex Jones. Trump said, quote, "Thank you for your decades of tireless devotion to our country. Your reputation is amazing. I will not let you down," unquote. During the primaries, when Senator Ted Cruz was Trump's opponent in the 2016 Republican primary election for president, Trump advanced the theory that Cruz's father, Raphael, was with Lee Harvey Oswald just before Oswald assassinated President John F. Kennedy. Trump said, quote, "What was he doing with Oswald shortly before the shooting of Kennedy," unquote. There was a prominent conspiracy theory called the Pizzagate conspiracy that ended up turning violent. Let's go over this. Nobody knows who invented the Pizzagate story, but it first appeared on the internet haven of bots and trolls called 4chan. The theory was that Hillary Clinton and John Podesta were running a child sex ring in the basement of a pizzeria in DC called Comet Ping Pong. A Facebook user who called herself Carmen Katz and said she was from Joplin, Missouri, did much to amplify the story. Carmen Katz disappeared from Facebook when reporters tried to learn her true identity. Katz said, quote, "My New York Police Department contacts say the content of the emails is vile and serious. The emails detail the trips made by Winner, Bill, and Hillary on their pedophile billionaire friend's plane, the Lolita Express. Yep, Hillary has a well-documented predilection of underage girls. We are talking about an international child enslavement and sex ring," unquote. The false story was pushed by online activists, bots, and foreign agents. It was also pushed by domestic political agents, many of whom were associated with the Trump campaign. Trump himself retweeted Jack Posobiec, a far-right-wing political operative who pushed the pizza restaurant story, thus giving Posobiec a wider audience. You might notice that the Pizzagate conspiracy theory has much in common with the ritual murder accusations leveled against the Jews in the Middle Ages, as we talked about in the previous videos. The conspiracy involves a powerful, malevolent group working secretly to do evil to innocent people. The malevolent actors, in this case, Hillary Clinton and the Democrats, have long been vilified so that the intended audience was receptive to the message. On December 4th, 2016, a person named Edgar Madison came to the restaurant with a gun to rescue the children. He shot through the door and discovered no children were in the basement. For about 45 minutes, he searched the restaurant with an assault rifle for juvenile sex slaves. After he finished his search, he walked out and surrendered to the police. He said, quote, "I left after I was convinced that no children were being harmed," unquote. So, as you can tell, this conspiracy theory was perpetuated to the point where someone truly believed children were in danger at this pizza shop and felt obligated to rescue them, even though none of this was true. Imagine risking your whole life to rescue someone for them not to be there at all, and to also have your life ruined because you fell for a conspiracy theory. That is why conspiracy theories are so dangerous to follow, because your life can be changed instantly when you fall down that rabbit hole. For Trump, while he did not create this Pizzagate conspiracy theory nor carry out this shooting, It did not help that he entertained it by retweeting a political figure talking about this theory. Given the platform Trump has, whatever he shares will get so much attention, and there does not seem to be any regard for the consequences of increasing this conspiracy theory's prominence. One more thing I will point out about Trump is his frequent use of the term fake news. Here are some of his statements on that term. Quote, "The mainstream media has become completely unhinged. They are truly the enemy of the people. I do not even use fake anymore. I call the fake news now corrupt news because fake news is not tough enough," unquote. Quote, "And I am the one that came up with the term. I am very proud of it, but I think I'm going to switch it to corrupt news," unquote. Trump did not invent the term fake news. It is a translation of Lügenpresse, which was coined by Hitler. Remember, in my previous videos, when Hitler took over Nazi Germany, he worked to destroy the free press and came up with that term Lügenpresse, which translated into lying press. So, this narrative has been used before, but for Trump, it speaks to him wanting to take credit for creating something that already existed before. So, after going through all of these examples, what is the takeaway? Well, when we look at the results of the 2016 US presidential election, Hillary Clinton won almost 3 million more votes than Trump. But since Trump earned a majority of the Electoral College votes, and Electoral College votes actually determined the presidential winner, he won the 2016 election and became the 45th president of the United States. Almost 62 million Americans voted for a candidate who openly used fascist tactics, advanced conspiracy theories, and sought to establish himself as the primary source of legal and factual authority. Usually anyone running to be a leader of something would not want to be seen as giving out unreliable and untrustworthy information. But for Trump, he kept doing it, and it was not a big turnoff for a chunk of the US population. Does that mean every person running for president should outright lie and use fascist appeals to gain power? I don't know. There are two things to think about. Either it could be Trump has a unique personality that no one else can replicate that allows him to mostly get away with using disinformation tactics to gain power and govern as president, or it could be him strategically using the flaws in our information literacy environment to gain power. After all, based on the videos I made so far, we know disinformation was a problem historically and is still a problem in modern times with the rise of the internet, echo chambers, and foreign influence in domestic electoral politics. I would say the fact that we would tolerate this much disinformation from a presidential candidate and current president speaks to us still being unprepared to not let disinformation dictate how we govern. If we just let a politician govern based on a feeling something bad is happening without showing concrete evidence, we end up negatively affecting a group of people who are being targeted by disinformation through legislation. We end up passing laws that hurt a specific demographic group who truly do not deserve to face difficulties by the government and institutions, but the group faces them anyway because disinformation is taking over the narrative about them. Also, it comes back to conformity and confirmation bias, where some of us will blindly follow a narrative that seems popular, but it is based on a false premise, and we blindly agree to what a politician says because that politician is saying things that go along with our pre-existing beliefs. To combat this, we have to collectively give our expectations to political candidates and politicians that they must be truthful and not commit actions that put any groups of people at a disadvantage. After all, they are serving in government, and it is their public duty to help all of us, not go in there and spread disinformation. Until we can all express that collective standard to our politicians, we will still elect people who want to govern with fascist and disinformation tactics that will either keep us static or bring us back in the progress we make as a country. So, even though this video did primarily focus on Donald J. Trump, since his words carry the most weight as a U.S. president, this speaks more broadly to every U.S. politician who govern on the federal, state, and local levels. We should not reward any political candidates with letting them be in public office if they continuously demonstrate that they are dishonest with us. It is making sure we demand better from our politicians and being honest and not exploiting the flaws in our information literacy system to gain or maintain power, but instead commit to being truthful so we can all make positive change together on factual information. In the next video, we will talk about the anti-democratic and authoritarian aspect of disinformation. Until then, please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and turn on the post notifications so you will be notified when I post my next video. I appreciate your support. Remember, you are powerful, you are capable, and you are the changemaker our society needs. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you soon.